Okay, this session is on how to sew. The first thing that you'll need is your bobbin or thread. The bobbin is what holds the thread. A lot of times when you first start, when you get a fresh bobbin, there's a little hook on the top of your bobbin, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see that. It's really hard to see that right there. And usually your thread may be stuck into it. Sometimes it will be taped down with the label. So just pull the label up, take the string and pull it out of that little niche. Then when you're finished sewing for the day, you can put your string back in that little hook. And that's keeps it very nice and helps the string from unraveling and tangling and just wasting away. I'm going to zoom back out. Now, because I'm sewing a white sock, I'm using a brown or black thread just so that you can see. But for this purpose, so that you can see how I'm threading and everything, I'm going to use a lighter color. So, I find it easy to do a couple of things. The first thing I like to do when I get a new piece of string is just cut the edge off. Sometimes the tip will be frayed. If the tip is frayed, it's very hard to stick into the needle. So I've clipped off a little piece of string that I don't need. Then to unwind your string and get enough of it, I like to put the string between my ring and my middle finger. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that. Okay, so again, it's between my ring and my middle finger. Then hold it in the palm of your hand. You can hold it like that and tighten it just a little bit, just so it doesn't fall out of your hand. Then you just pull and it goes. Now for this purpose, go ahead and pull the string to where your arms are fully extended. And I have about a yard of thread pulled off of my bobbin. And you're just going to cut. Then go ahead and take that piece of string and put it in the little hook. And this is an old-fashioned wooden bobbin, which is always nice. Okay. Now, I'm going to zoom back out. I have one complete yard. And I haven't measured it, but it's just my arm's width, all the way stretched out. I'm going to take one end, and I'm going to put it through the eye of my needle. Now, a lot of students have trouble picking up a needle in the first place. What you're going to need to do, the easiest way to pick it up, is to go ahead and on the eye side, put your thumb on it, and it ends up lifting up that needle just a little bit. So you can hear it kind of ping. So I'm going to just pop it up a little bit off of the table. I'm going to take my index finger and I'm just going to barely touch it. Then I'm going to bring it forward and then I have it. Just like that. Let me do that again. Pop it up. Okay, touch it with my my index finger, and then I've got it. Now what you're going to do is take your thread. You need to hold it as close as possible to the end of the string. A lot of students hold it way far out. It doesn't give them a lot of control to put it through the eye of their needle. The eye of the needle is the hole. Okay. So you're going to find it, very gently stick it through. If you're having a hard time sticking it through, it may be because your string is still frayed, so you need to probably cut a little bit more off. Now, once you've stuck it in just a little bit, take the other side, and you're going to pull it, and I'm taking the other string and putting it through and holding it. So you still have one string. I'm just pulling them to where both sides match evenly. So it's almost like I have two pieces of string on my needle. So if you can see, just like that. Now, some students, like right after they pull the string through, they make a knot. If you make a knot right here, what ends up happening is, especially in the sock fabric, it gets stuck. And then if you pull too hard, it breaks the needle, and you're only ending up using one tiny piece of thread instead of doubling it up to have two. So, what I've done is I have two, they're strong. I'm going to set my needle aside. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut. Cut only what you need. Don't start cutting everything out of your socks. It's easier to take them and cut them off step by step. That way you're not losing any pieces. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut straight down. Please make sure that you do not cut through the butt. Your legs do not need to be all the way up here. If you do that, it's going to look really funny and disproportionate. Now I'm going to cut the curve into my sock of the little butt. Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm going to keep this extra piece for later because I could use it for something. Then I'm going to take my thread and I'm going to put it at the corner of my sock. So I'm going to start right here, okay, right at the edge. Make sure that both of your seams, the edges of your fabric, are aligned. They need to be the same width and everything. I'm going to pull my thread, so you can see it, pull my thread all the way through except for about 2 inches. So, or a little bit. I'm going to have a little bit left over, and I'm going to tie my thread to my sock. So I'm going to do that right there. Now, I'm going to go over real quick how to make a knot, because I end up having students who do not know how to make a knot. Well, all you need to do is to take your fingers, take the long piece in one hand, take the short piece in another. I'm going to take my index and my thumb and wrap them underneath the long piece. I'm going to give the short piece to that, and I'm going to put my thumb in that little loop that it makes right there. I'm going to pull with my index and my thumb the short string under the long string. Then I'm going to take that short string and the loop that I have kept with my thumb, I'm going to put it through that loop, and then I'm going to pull it down. Again, do it 2 times. I'm going to take it, take my index and my thumb under my long piece of string, give the short piece of string to my right index and thumb, pull it underneath, and go through the loop. And then just tighten. And that's how I've attached my needle to my sock. The next step is to start stitching. So when you start, you need to stay a little bit away from the edge, about 5/8. Okay, that's about half of a centimeter. So I'm going to put my my needle through, and I'm not going to put it, this is where I just made my stitch. Don't stick your needle all the way over here and start doing another stitch. You need to keep your stitches very close together. A lot of the things that we do is to make sure that you keep your stitch nice and strong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my string, I'm going to wrap it around my needle, and I'm going to do it twice, and that's making a French knot, and then I'm going to pull through. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Put next to. Then, now that I've made a French knot, it's just making another secure knot to make sure that the thread does not come out of the sock. I'm going to go ahead now and I'm just going to do one loop. And this stitch is called an oversew. And then when I make my stitch, let me show you that again real quick. I'm going to zoom out. When I put my needle through, and then I take my thread, wrap it around, watch my hand. I'm straightening out my string to where it's completely straight,